So in this video, I want to talk about what I love most about Filipino culture after living here for more than 3 years. Let's talk. So the first thing that I love about Filipino culture is that Filipinos know how to party. So depending on where you are, at different types of years, there's different fiestas going on, and I tell you, I don't know how people survive during these times because it's like they're up 24/7, the music going, the karaoke's going, the drinking's going, everybody's just really having a great time. Not too long ago, I was in Butuan in Mindanao, and I happened to go there during fiesta time, and there was so much celebration going on. There was big events which were just really put together so professionally. It was so impressive, and people were just coming over, eating, socializing, enjoying, and it was just really a blast to be around them. There's also huge festivals, like where I live in Cebu, there's Sinulog Festival once a year, and I've honestly never been in crowds so big as I've been in at a Sinulog Festival. People are dancing, performing, music going on, a lot of food, a lot of drink, a lot of fun. And Filipinos just really know how to enjoy their time together. Second thing I really love about Filipino culture is that people are so low maintenance. Now where I come from, and I think probably a lot of Western cultures, people are really high maintenance. You know, just to have a friend, you gotta make sure that they kind of check off the right box, they're your kind of people. You gotta be really careful what you say, what you don't say, maybe what you eat or don't eat or drink, whatever. There's just kind of this long list of things that you're supposed to do or not supposed to do around other Americans. And I think a lot of it is out of a good heart in the US. You know, people are very careful about how they act, what they do, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of exhausting, and you don't realize how exhausting it is till you move somewhere like the Philippines, where all of that is just kind of gone. And to this day, it's taken me a while to realize that people aren't critiquing me about everything that I say or do or wear or think. They're just kind of accepting me who I am, and Filipinos really accept each other for who they are. It doesn't kind of matter how you think or any of those type of hang-ups that people have in the US and other countries. People are just so refreshingly low maintenance and accepting. Another thing that I love about Filipino culture is that Filipinos help each other. So you really see this, especially when there's tragedies or when there's been a natural disaster. Filipinos really stick together, they support each other, they help out each other. You definitely see this in the family structure as well, where people aren't these separate individuals responsible for their own life. They're a whole team as a family where they're really sticking by each other's side, making sure everybody has somewhere to live, food to eat, whatever it takes. If people are going through hard times where there's not a lot to eat, still they all share and make it happen. It's a really beautiful part of Filipino culture here, where there's a support system where you just don't see people left alone. You know, in the country that I come from, there are so many lonely people. My guess is there's just really not too many lonely people here in the Philippines that really feel like they don't have anybody that loves them, cares for them, is there for them. And this caring for each other and really thinking of more than just themselves, thinking of others around them, is just another really beautiful part of Filipino culture. Another thing that's so refreshing about Filipino culture is that people don't argue much. Now, sometimes I'll hear people in Cebu, they're kind of raising their voice, and I'll think, man, is this heated? and then people will say, nothing is wrong, we just kind of talk loud, we sound a little bit like we're angry, but there's no problems going on. And the thing is I just don't see people arguing here. Sometimes on social media or this or that, people will be debating something, you know, kind of inconsequential. However, I still can't even think of one time where I've seen people like yelling at each other or some kind of, you know, argument that gets heated or things like that that I'm used to seeing in other countries. Without a doubt, people have disagreements, they don't always get along, no doubt behind closed doors, people argue, but in the US and other places, this kind of sense of arguing and having your point and being right, it just spills into everyday life wherever you happen to be. And here, it's just so refreshing to not have that cloud of argumentative people surrounded you. It's another thing I'm so grateful to be around in the Philippines. Totally different than this, I really love how much Filipinos are childlike. Not childish, but childlike. Not too long ago, I was talking with my buddy Marco. Marco's been on the channel a number of times, one of my very best friends over here. And he said that some of his friends were watching our Christmas video for the Purple Cow Delish Deli Christmas party, and it was saying how the adults that work for my companies were acting, and they kind of had the impression like these guys are kind of childish. And it really kind of made me stop and think about it for a sec, because when I look back at the Christmas party video, people were probably doing things that might be common for much younger kids in other countries. But to me, these are responsible, hardworking adults that are not at all childish. However, it really got me thinking about a part of Philippines culture that I love so much, and that is that I think that people are really childlike. What do I mean by that? I mean that they really still have a sense of joy about what's going on around them. You're gonna find people, even in their places of work, where they're dancing, where they're singing, whether they have a great voice, and there's a lot of amazing singers over here, or whether they have a terrible voice like I do. People are just kind of free of the inhibitions that people in a lot of other countries have, where they're not caring how they sound, they're not caring how they look, they're just in the moment singing or dancing or playing or enjoying life. And it's really a beautiful thing, you know. I think that adults in a lot of other countries lose that kind of sense of just going with the flow, enjoying life, making the most of the moment. And I think they get so much more inhibitions about, well, I can't do that because I'm not, you know, a great singer or whatever it may be. People here seem to not have that in their culture. People just really love each other, accept each other. And like I said before about being low maintenance, there's just not that sense of, you know, judgment and other things like that over here with most things. Another thing I love about Philippines culture is that families are closer. Now listen, there's a lot of very tight-knit, close families all around the world, but here it just seems like it's really a much higher degree of closeness. People really think of the others, people really sacrifice themselves for each other, and I think that families are overall a much stronger unit here. However, as a Westerner, some things just feel so different that it takes a while to get used to over here. But when you really see what the family structure is like here compared to so much other cultures, it's really so obvious that Filipino families are so close with each other. Last but not least, one of the things that I really love about Filipinos culture is that people seem to cope with difficult times, with challenges, with stress, with, you know, major events that just impact their life so much better. You know, people say that Filipinos are more resilient, but I think that's really a cultural thing. Nobody is born resilient or not resilient. At least I don't think so. I think it's something that's really a part of the culture. And what I find here is that Filipinos have qualities like patience, acceptance, lower expectations, and a lot of those things I think help them to weather storms where people here are just able to cope with so much more better than others. And it's something, actually all these things are things that I'm really trying to learn from. I'm trying to adopt and become just a bit more Filipino in my day-to-day life. So I gotta say, I love the Philippines, I love Filipinos, and these are just a handful of the reasons why. If you've been to the Philippines or if you know Filipinos, I would love to hear what are some of the things that you love about Filipino culture. Let us know in the comment below. And as always, guys, thank you for taking the time to watch, and don't forget to share and subscribe. Take care.